recording. Thank you for agreeing to this interview. I'd like to start by asking you some questions about when you were my age. What did you like to do when you were my age?
My granddad had a big farm, and I loved to get on a motorcycle and ride through the woods, or be out in nature in the woods with my dogs. And my dad bought me a motorcycle when I was 11, and I loved to ride on that throughout the farm.
Mm-hmm. Next question is, what did you want to do when you got older?
I loved travel, and my daddy let me go to France and study, so I thought I'd love a job that took me to Europe or France that would, that I could travel and see things and do things. And so I studied French in college, and I did find a job doing that. I became a flight attendant. So uh, that's what I wanted to do.
Okay. What did you want to be when you got older?
Just someone in, probably a business person, someone that there again worked in foreign countries, but I know that when I went to Europe, I liked Europe a lot. So someone, say, in marketing that dealt with business of some sort in back and forth from the United States to Europe.
Mm-hmm. Would you say that worked out from
Yeah, I mean, I think that I imagined a job that I would, maybe make more money doing, but so far as fulfilling my desire to be doing something that I explained, I pretty much nailed it on the head. Yeah.
What rules and expectations did your family have?
They didn't have any real rules. They just wanted me to be happy and to enjoy what I did for a living. They wanted me to be honest and a good person and a good citizen.
Would you say those rules are like what you have for me?
Yeah, I do. I think I want you to be happy in what you do, and that's most important. Now, naturally, you got to make a living, but I want you to be happy in what you do, and you know, that's the main thing.
Mm-hmm. What messages did you get from your parents about alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs when you were growing up?
Well, they looked at drugs and alcohol as mind altering, and the ability to be successful. You need your wits about you, and if you're constantly high or intoxicated, you're not going to do too well,
Mm-hmm.
in life. Alcohol, as far as tobacco, I come from tobacco farmers, but by the time I was your age, uh, the ill effects of tobacco were well known, so it wasn't something that was looked upon highly because it compromised your health.
Mm-hmm. Now I'd like to ask you some questions about your role as a caregiver. What are your rules and expectations for me about the use of alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs?
Well, drugs and alcohol are never going to be a good idea. I think alcohol is in many cases a part of eating
Mm-hmm.
and enjoying foods and so forth. Drugs, illegal drugs, have no place in your life, or shouldn't have. Tobacco, there again, is something that would cause you harm and harm your body. Of course, there's other things, but they're big threes. You can drink, and you don't have to be drunk. And
Mm-hmm.
so, I guess that's the main thing. Enjoy your wine and enjoy, a
So
mixed
you.
drink, but don't enjoy it to the point that you become intoxicated,
Mm-hmm.
because it can, once you're not using your head and thoughts fully, you can have problems.
So you'd say with modesty with alcohol.
That's right. Drugs never. It's just not a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Now there is research about certain drugs. You hear about marijuana being legalized in certain areas, and medicinal, benefits of marijuana. I don't know. But as it stands right now, I would stay away from anything that alters your mind to its maximum benefit.
Mm-hmm. What are the consequences for me if I do not follow these rules?
Well, the consequences are yours. You would probably find yourself with less opportunity, and like I said, if your mind is altered, if you're uh, you've seen drunk people, you've seen high people, and they don't seem like they're functioning too well. So
Mm-hmm.
functioning is a big part of success. Being able to interact and perform at your best. So the consequences would be you probably find yourselves lacking in opportunity and everything that comes with that, lacking in housing, lacking in relationships, lacking in a lot of things, because you're constantly in an altered mental state.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think these rules are important?
Well, it just keeps us on course in life. You look at successful people, and I don't mean just success monetary. You look at just people who are successful in life, in living their life and being happy, versus those who say use drugs and alcohol, and their downward spiral of in some cases it takes their life.
Mm-hmm. What would you say the most challenging part of taking care of a young adult is?
um, Most likely not having you repeat the mistakes I've made
Mm-hmm.
with and what I've noticed is I can tell you some things, and some things you take and build on. Other things I sense that no matter how I explain the downfalls and the issues that come with not taking my advice, some people just have to figure it out on their own. I just hope that it's not a results in a bad thing, because um, the things I warn you about, in many cases, there's not a second chance,
Mm-hmm.
So if you feel like you've got to go out and find out for yourself, uh, I would not advise that, and because, as I said, my warnings come because I was lucky, perhaps, and a bad thing didn't happen, but luck isn't always a certainty.
Mm-hmm. What have you enjoyed about participating in this interview?
I'm just glad that young people are curious about life and and what it takes to raise a child, and in my case, what it took to be a child.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, those curiosities are good.
Okay. And these last two questions are questions that I made up. What were your parents' standards for you in comparison to the standards for me? Would you say they're equal?
I'd say they were equal. Um, in fact, it's what I build on. What my parents demanded of me is what I demand of you, uh, because I did, uh, from my assessment, turn out all right. So if you at least make as few mistakes as I made, and I hope that you'll turn out all right too.
Okay. Say if I did something bad and you did the same thing when you were your age, would you feel the same? Like, would you hold yourself to the same standard
Yeah,
as?
because I think there's a learning to having experienced it uh, firsthand, and then watch, say, yourself experience it firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
There's a compassion. I wrecked my father's car when I was a little bit older than you. I had a driver's license, and I thought my father was going to be out of control mad, and he was. But the first thing he told me when they I got in his truck and we went away from the action scene, and the car was destroyed. Was He said it's gonna be all right. You know, he said these things happen and it's gonna be all right. He didn't, and he knew at that moment I needed support. I needed compassion more than I needed an argument or a you know, a debate on what I did right or wrong. That came later, but it at the moment he was more compassionate than I was imagining he was going to be.
Okay. Well, that concludes the interview. Thank you.